Hey guys, it's Andrea from Create a Canvas. Are you ready to get fishy today? We're going to do our underwater turtle cave picture. We're going to be doing it with oil pastels today, but you could always do the same exact activity with watercolor, acrylic paint, chalk pastel, marker, or crayons. It's just a drawing activity and you can personalize it however you want. I'm just going to show you how to draw some underwater sea life, including a turtle. So what you're going to need is black paper. If you're doing it with another type of medium, use white paper. But if you're going to do pastels, we use black paper. You're going to need a set of oil pastels or chalk pastels, either one. I'm going to be using oil pastels because I have more colors to choose from, but whatever you have, use it. And let's get started. So we're going to have a pencil and we're going to draw out our basic design first, and then we'll start going in and adding details, and I'll show you easy ways to color it without having to layer too much on top. And that's kind of the thing with art, is you want to plan a little bit ahead of time before you just start doing things. That's a good way to be creative if you're just wanting to have an art activity where you're feeling creative and just want to get some art out, just go for it. But if you want to have an actual picture laid out and designed, you want to think about ahead of time how you're going to do it, what steps you're going to take, and that's what I'm here for, to help you do that. So we're going to have our pencil, we're going to get started. Now you can decide if you want to do your picture vertically or horizontally. It's up to you. I'm going to be doing it vertically because it's easier for you to see. But the first thing we're going to put in is our cave. So we're going to start on one side of our paper, and we're going to come up along the top, down along the top. That's our cave. And you want it to be a little bumpy and jaggedy because a cave is rocky, so it has to look kind of organic. Organic's like from nature. Now we're going to draw our horizon line. So the horizon line, because this is an under the sea painting, we have to put in the floor. So the floor of the ocean. So we're going to find about a little bit below halfway, and you're going to draw again a not straight or even line, kind of give it a little bit of a curve and a bump, because sand does do that. It kind of piles up with the tides. So it's never just flat. There's lots of bumps and sand. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to end up putting some sea anemones down in our bottom corner. So what we're going to do just for now is we're going to draw 3 circles on the bottom right of our paper underneath the sand, and they can be different sizes. Doesn't all have to be the same size, but we're going to have some sea anemones in those. You can also change them to like starfish or whatever you want when we get there, but we want to just, I like to teach you guys to work smarter, not harder. It's my favorite thing to say. So if you leave blank spaces when you're coloring, you don't have to double color. It saves you time and energy. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to put in some plant shapes. So we're going to come up above our sand line, come back down, almost like leaves or fire. There's one. I'm going to do about 3 more of that same shape, but it's all one plant, so they're all coming from the same point. They have the same root. And I'm going to have one coming off my edge over here. That's a good design element, to have things going off your edges. It's unexpected and adds a little bit extra artisticness to your art. All right, so now for the turtle, or honu if you're in Hawaii. In Hawaii, they call turtles honu. Here's the shell. So it's an egg oval shape. And it's a little bit above the sand, because that's his shell. Now we need to put his head on. So it's not a perfect circle. It's like a half circle, but then remember his mouth. It juts out just a little bit. So it kind of looks like a jelly bean. Okay, now we need some fins or flippers, his legs. So they are like a leaf shape or a teardrop, and it starts from right under his neck, right between where his neck and the shell start, and it comes down like a leaf and back up to his neck. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, right under his neck. And not all turtles have the same kind of fins. This is definitely a sea turtle. Okay, we're going to do his back fins. Now these are kind of the same shape, but they're smaller. So think of little leaves or little teardrops. And we're going to have to overlap a little of our plant right there for his second leg. You have a turtle. Okay, now for his shell, you're going to start in the center of his shell, and you're going to draw a diamond or a square, but a diamond and a square are pretty close to the same shape. You just have to tilt to the direction. So the diamond's pointing up towards his neck. Then you're going to draw another one and another one. Right along the edge of his body, we're going to draw a smaller oval on the inside. And then we connect almost like there's more squares over here. Make those into sections. And have a turtle shell. Okay, so you can start thinking we're going to add some fish in here. We're going to put some jellyfish, some shells. So you can start thinking about how you want to personalize. Now think about before we start filling things in, if you're going to want to add things down here at the bottom, I would suggest, like say if I want to add a small starfish, I'm going to make another little circle and think that's the size of the starfish or whatever you're going to add down here that you want. Up in this area, we're going to color this all in and everything will go on top of it. Same thing up here. So we're ready to start. Okay, so the first color that I want you guys to find is some brown. We're going to do all the big stuff first. So we're going to get a brown pastel. If you have a couple different colors of brown, grab both. With pastels, it's really important. You want to kind of overlap as many colors as you can. That's why they give you such a huge selection. So you want to overlap. I'm also going to find like an orange or a peach and maybe a yellow. So you can see these colors are the colors I'm starting with. You might not have these exact same colors, but I'm just kind of getting some earth tones. So when you think of like dirt, the earth, what colors do you have that are close to that in your palette? I just saw another one. Okay. All right, so we're going to use one of the browns first, and we're going to outline. We're going to go right on top of our cave. And we're going to fill it in. And if you've pasteled with me before, when I say fill in with pastel, you'll feel the pastel. It feels like a crayon. It's like a waxy, kind of smoother crayon, and it goes on looking like a crayon. But with pastel, we blend it together. So we use our finger later and we blend our colors that we're going to overlap. So when I say fill it in, I don't mean completely. As long as you're coloring all in the same direction, find a pattern to color in, you're going to leave some gaps because we're going to go back into those gaps with another color. So once you get your first color put on there, I'm going to pick another color of brown, probably a darker brown, if you have it, and I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm filling in some of the areas where I can still see black. Okay. And then I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to press pretty hard, and I drag or push the pastel around, and you'll lose the effect of crayon. You won't see the paper through anymore. And if you can see paper still through, like blank paper, add a little bit more pastel in that section before you blend. And you see I'm kind of blending in the same direction as what I drew the pastels. And my cave has a good start to it. I might come back later and put a little highlight on there, but before we do all the details, we're going to get all the color on first. So I'm going to go down, since I have my earth tones out, I'm going to come down to my sand, and I'm going to use the lighter brown that I did in my cave, and I'm going to start down at the bottom because we're going to kind of ombre, so it's going to go dark to light up to the top of our sand. So I'm going to go around all the things that I drew already, because we don't want to have to put yellow pastel on top of brown pastel or green pastel on top of brown, because the brown will definitely overpower. So that's why we drew those things first. I'm going around them. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to do I started pressing hard down at the bottom, so I have a lot of dark. And then as I come up towards the top of my sand, I'm pressing a little bit lighter so that I'll get less of this brown color pastel. But I'll still have a little bit. So it starts dark and I lightened up my pressure. Now I'm going to get a yellowish, orangish color. And I'm going to come in and fill in some more of the spots. I'm going to go right on top of the brown that I've already put in. But already this color is looking much more sandy than dirt or mud. And we're still going to lighten it up a little bit more. Have you ever seen a sea turtle in real life? If you live in Hawaii, I'm sure you have. You've probably swam with them. But people at other places aren't as lucky, and they probably never seen one before unless they were on vacation. Okay, last one, we're going to do like a light color orange, or if you don't have this, you can use like a light yellow, or even white will work for this. And right along the top of our sand, we're going to put this highlight of the lighter color. And you can see before I blend, it looks really messy. But once I start blending the colors together, which I'm going to do next, then I start filling in the gaps. Now, start from the top and work your way down. And remember, you can, right now when I'm blending, I'm going over my plants and my circles and things, because I know that I'm going to cover that up later. I can still see it, so I can see where I have places that I need to draw. But just so I get nice blending with my pastel, I'm just going over into the plants and sea anemones, the areas that I drew. Blends together. Okay, before we put our browns away, we're going to do a little bit of the turtle shell. So let's pick your lighter brown, and we're going to outline the turtle shell. And you're going to go right on top of the oval or the diamond shapes that you drew as texture on the shell. Go right on top of your lines. Don't do his fins yet, because his fins are going to be green, and we're going to color in green on the shell. Okay, awesome. Okay, we can put our earth tones away, and that's something that I really like to practice doing, because doing art can be messy, and the worst part about making art is cleaning up at the end. So I like to clean up as I'm going. So as soon as I finish a color, I'm going to put it away so that I know where all my stuff is when I need it. And I like to keep my colors organized so they're easy to pick up and see what colors I can use. Sometimes I get excited and I just want to put colors down. Okay, so now we're going to pick up some blues and greens, and a purple. So pick up a dark purple, a dark blue, and a lighter blue. If you have two lighter blues, awesome. We're going to ombre. So we're going to start along the top of our cave with the purple. I'm not going to go right to the very top because right up here I want to do a sun shape. So give yourself a sun. I forgot to draw that in. Give yourself a sun coming from behind the cave. And now you can do a light fill in. Don't go into your sun shape because we want to make that yellow or white later. Okay. Once I go down a little bit with my purple, I'm lightly going to shade downwards just a little bit so I can blend, see my ombre happening. Put your purple away, pick up your dark blue, go into a little bit of the purple you just did, move down, I'd say move down to about the top of the turtle's head. Okay, pick up your next color of blue, the next light, darkest color, overlap a little, keep moving down, go around your turtle, okay, when you get close to your sand, we're going to pick up the lightest color blue we have. We're going to go right up to our sand and up into the blue we just put down. Go around your turtle. Go around your plants. Now if you have a white, I still have another light blue. My kit has at least 4 colors of blue, so that's really awesome. But yours might not. So if it doesn't, you can do this with white or even a light green. And I'm just going to lighten up even more down here. Maybe put a few of this light color throughout. Okay, we're ready to blend. So start at the top and try to blend it as continuously as you can. Another thing that you can do with oil pastels is you can actually use oil to help blend it. So it does make it a little bit messier because it makes your paper feel oily. But so you could just do it with your finger or a cloth. But if you want to try the actual oil technique, you just get a Q-tip and either some baby oil or some coconut oil, and you put that on the Q-tip, and then it helps blend. It makes it kind of look more like paint, but it does make it messy. So I like just using my finger. Okay, so we blended. Now what we're going to do our sun, and we're going to do some rays of light, and we're also going to put a few little white jellyfish in there. So go ahead and grab a yellow and a white. And the first thing you're going to do with your sun is white it out because we want it bright. And then what I want you to do is we're going to fan out rays of the sun. So we're going to start from the center and it's going to come down, and you can go over your turtle because we're going to go back on top of it. We're doing rays, like the rays of the sun are coming down into the cave. And once you have your rays drawn, it just fans out. Go over them with your finger Go in the direction of the ray. This part's really cool because it gives a really awesome effect in your water. And you can add a little bit of yellow right at the top of your sun if you want, so people read it as a sun. Very cool. Okay, with our white, we're going to add an oval here. Add a couple ovals. Over on the right side, we're going to do about 5 dashes. Okay. From our ovals, we're going to draw squiggly lines. And what are those? Those are your jellyfish. Press light. The lighter you press, the skinnier your lines are going to be. Then from your little dashes over here, you're going to put a V from the back of them, and you have a school of fish. And you can do those in other colors. Do it white first, then you can color on top of it. Or you can just leave it white. I kind of like them white. But it's up to you. Okay, so now let's do our plants next. So let's get a couple colors of green and a yellow. We're going to start from the bottom and outline your plant. Do a fill-in. Then your second color could be a lighter green. You can start pulling out our greens now because we're going to use them for our turtle next. And I actually am not going to blend that. I kind of like how it looks unblended, so I'm going to leave that. And there's no rule that you have to blend everything with pastels. Okay, since we have a green in our hand, let's do our turtle. I had the light green last, so I'm going to use a light green because your fins and his head should be a light green. So we're going to outline his fins and his head. Fill him in. And if you're painting along with us, I would love for you to send me a picture, post a picture, and I'll put it in our gallery of how yours looks like a watercolor or a painting so people can see. Alright, so once you did the light green on the fins and the head, we're going to right down the center of the fins, you're going to do a dark green. And you're going to do a smaller shape inside the head of the dark green. So follow the same shape as the head, but make it dark green. Awesome. Now, right on the edge of the shell, inside your brown, go inside of it, don't go on top of it because we're not going to blend the shell. Dark green on the outside. You can go inside each of your squares with the dark green, but don't fill it in, just do like one line on the inside of the brown with dark green. And lastly, light green right in the centers of those squares. And any extra places that you see black, because we're not going to blend our shell. So if you see black paper popping through in your shell, just hit it with a little bit of the light green. Alright, sea anemones. We're going to start with our white. Right in the center of our circles, we're going to do a white circle. Fill in, white circle. Okay, then I'm going to get a red, and I'm going to do red circle around my white circle. Okay, then an orange. And what we're going to do with this orange is we're going to draw spikes coming out, almost like as if we are drawing a sun, but we're not drawing a sun, we're drawing a sea anemone. So we're putting like rays coming out, orange rays coming out from the side of the red, all the way to the edge of your black circle. Fill up that black circle with these orange. And then if you want to get real fancy right on the tips of your orange, you can do a little teeny white dot. Those are pretty sea anemones. Okay, lastly we have our starfish, or if you have something else down here, you can personalize it. If you're wanting to do a starfish, I'm going to show you a really easy way to do a starfish. You think of it as a person, a stick man. You give it a head. You give it arms. You give it legs. And you have a little baby starfish down there. Okay, so now it's your turn to personalize this. So you can add more fish, you can add eyeballs, you can add more things down in the ground, more plants. So I can't wait to see your finished product. When you're done, send me a picture, and I will see you soon. Bye, guys.